And after all these interviews, I'm sitting back in Chicago, and all of a sudden this law firm comes in and puts me on their interview list, and they're wearing pink polo shirts and little khaki pants, and they come from Phoenix, Arizona, where I had never been in my life. And they just look like they're having fun. They're tan, and they offered to fly me back to Phoenix and take me out to play golf, which I was a terrible golfer, but it just looked like fun. All my friends in law firms said I wasn't much of a lawyer. Really true. I was really a terrible lawyer. But I fronted for development projects. Yeah, I was packaging development into development agreements and CFDs for funding the infrastructure, and I sort of backed into being a front guy for development more than anything else. And that's sort of how I became a developer.
One of the things I think a lot of people don't know is how much he really was involved in getting the sports stadiums that we have here built. So
basically, Major League Baseball had just called them and said, if you build it, we will come. If we could build a Major League Baseball stadium, they will give our client, the AAA team, the Firebirds, they will give the owner, Martin Stone, a franchise that we will be finally a Major League Baseball city. So we put together some very quick legislation, and I went to my friends on the board of supervisors at the time and talked to them about, would they vote in a countywide sales tax? Would they vote that in if we got the legislature given the authority to do that? And they all said yes, except for one Republican member who was kind of an anti-tax guy, and he said no. But I had 4 of the 5, that's all I needed. And so I quickly threw together the legislation, took it out to the legislature, and sine die night, the last night before the legislature convened, we did a strike everything amendment on a bill that had already gone through both houses, but wasn't going to pass a final vote. We found a bill that just couldn't make it over that final goal line. And so we struck my bill onto that bill, and everyone woke up the next morning, and the headline of the Arizona Republic was, we have a baseball stadium bill, and we're going to get a baseball team. But then what came after that was Michael Bidwell. So Michael Bidwell, I still remember that day where he took me to lunch and said, if you can get a baseball stadium built for a team that doesn't even exist, surely you can get a football stadium built for a team that's toiling in the desert. We are the only team in professional sports that's playing in a college venue. Infinitely harder, by the way, to get a football stadium built for the Arizona Cardinals than it was to get for a team that didn't even exist, a baseball stadium. Because of the Boston Tea Party problem that we had. We didn't have a public vote, right? And so we had to do a public vote this time. We put through 3 pieces of legislation in 3 successive years. The first one failed. It went to a public vote in Mesa and failed. The second one, vetoed. We got all the way up to the governor's desk and it got vetoed. And then the third one, we finally got it out. And you might recall, it was not a Cardinal Stadium bill. Anyway, and I was an early retiree in 2010. And I've been flunking my retirement ever since.
I was going to say, seriously, dude, you succeeded everything else. Retirement's not one of them.
I'm not good at retirement. So.
No, definitely not.
But you have to understand the background of the Helios building. It is easily the most sustainable building west of the Mississippi, if not in the country. It's intended so that in 50 years, 100 years, when the urban environment around it is loud and dense, that you drive it and you feel like you've exhaled, and that you relax as you drive into that garage. But it's also designed so that when cars go away, we no longer have cars, that underground parking garage can be repurposed into office space. Yeah, it's an amazing sustainable building, and it's intended to be around hundreds of years.
You started to really help with the solutions that brought Park Central into play. It is truly still to this day, one of the most complicated development agreements that I've worked on, and it was one of the first we worked on together.
Well, first we had to pull Humpty Dumpty back together again, because my buddy Jerry Moyes, although he had at one time owned the whole thing, he lost the middle, the donut hole. And so a CMBL lender had the donut hole, Jerry owned the parking lots. So we had to put the Humpty Dumpty back together, put the donut hole and the donut back together again. We had 300,000 square feet of buildings to repurpose at Park Central, and then develop buildings on the parking lot around, right? And it came out, I think Park Center came out great. Mentor Center, completely different. There's nothing you can do with those, right? And we had to scrape, right? We had to scrape this huge indoor mall, 2 levels. Steve Sharang came to Chris with a vision for Mentor Center that happened to fit your vision and the city's vision and the councilwoman's vision, which is to turn Metro Center into an urban village of residential with a town center that would have a park and plaza and a retailer. Steve's vision happened to match exactly what the city wanted to have happen. I was surprised to see so many friendly faces, people I've worked with a lot, and there's a lot of other people who think, I think, the same way. That if it's meaningful for the community, if it can make a difference, and if it's with people you like to work with. I've turned down a whole ton, because frankly, there's a lot of people I don't want to work with, right? But if you work on things that you really believe in and it can make a difference, and if it's with people you like to work with and for, that's great. And that's all these projects have been that. And